Prologue, Calvin and Pudge Meet Isaac Newton. Gravity isn't just a good idea. It's the law. The apple did not mean to start a revolution. It had been hanging from the tree quite peacefully for days, maybe weeks, doing what apples do best, ripening slowly, minding its own business, and enjoying the view from high above the world. If apples could think, and some would argue this one seemed particularly thoughtful, it might have wondered why the world below was always in motion. Leaves fluttered, birds darted, people hurried, dogs sniffed with unnecessary enthusiasm, especially the dogs. At the base of the tree stood a boy with wildly unruly red hair and the particular expression of someone who had just discovered something extremely important. "Pudge," Calvin said carefully, as though announcing a scientific breakthrough, "I have a theory." Pudge, who was currently attempting to dig up what he believed might be buried treasure, but was almost certainly just dirt, paused mid-scratch. His long beagle ears perked. The treasure was forgotten instantly. The word theory had a tone to it. Calvin stepped back and pointed dramatically at the apple. "That apple is just hanging there." Pudge studied it. It was, indeed, hanging there. Suspiciously, Calvin continued, "It's not floating away. It's not drifting sideways. It's not going up. It's just staying." Pudge tilted his head. Staying was suspicious too. "Why?" Calvin asked, lowering his voice. "Doesn't it just float off into space?" Pudge blinked. He had never considered this. The apple, meanwhile, continued hanging with quiet dignity. Calvin paced in a small circle. "Everything has to follow rules, right? My mom says so, teachers say so, traffic signs say so, even Pudge follows rules." Pudge immediately sat, then lay down, then rolled over. Calvin nodded. "See? Laws." He turned back toward the apple. "But who made the laws for apples?" Pudge's eyes widened. "Yes. Who was in charge of apple behavior?" The breeze shifted gently through the branches above. Leaves rustled. The apple wobbled slightly. Calvin froze. "Did you see that?" Pudge barked once. The apple swayed again, just barely. Calvin leaned forward, hands on his knees. "If that apple falls, it's going to prove something." Pudge didn't know what it would prove, but he knew something was about to happen. And if something was about to happen, he wanted to be involved. He positioned himself directly underneath the apple. Calvin's eyes widened. "Pudge, no. Too late." The apple detached. It didn't drift sideways. It didn't float upward. It didn't hesitate. It fell, straight down, directly onto Pudge's head. There was a soft thump. Pudge blinked. The apple rolled gently off his ear and onto the grass. Silence. Calvin stared at the apple, then at Pudge, then back at the apple. "It didn't choose," Calvin whispered. Pudge sniffed it cautiously. "It had to," Calvin said. And just like that, a very large idea began to form in the very messy space beneath Calvin's red hair. The apple had followed a rule nobody could see, a rule nobody had posted on a sign, a rule nobody had voted on. And yet, it obeyed. Calvin straightened slowly. "There's something pulling it," he said. Pudge looked down at the ground, then back at the tree, then at the sky. Was something pulling everything? Calvin's eyes lifted toward the clouds. "What if," he said, "there's a force holding everything together, keeping